I think it starts with just basic segregation of duties, and it works its way all the way up from there. At 17 years old, I started working as a teller in a bank, and I had the good fortune to have a 30-year veteran head teller experience train me. And I remember when she gave me the key to the night depository, and she says, "Now Laura has the combination, and you have the key. Never shall the two touch." And I was like, "Well, don't you trust me?" She goes, "Of course I trust you. This is why we're keeping honest people honest here." And just the concepts of basic segregation of duties, basic internal controls, and you look at the most complex systems, the most complex controls, it comes down to a check and a balance. Especially in financial institutions, if you think about, and I always use the example, if it was a lumber yard, you're going to put a fence around the lumber, and you're going to check everybody's truck before they leave. In a financial institution, it works way different. More money's been taken from a financial institution with a pen than with a gun. So you really have to come up with smart systems that looks at red flags or unusual activity. And we've seen a lot of advances there. Things like for check forgeries and other types of software that looks at unusual activity. So here's a customer who's never written a check over a certain dollar amount in their history, and now one shows up. Here's a customer who's written check 101, 102, 103, and now 999 shows up. You're looking for those unusual trends. And more recently, there's been a lot of advances on, I almost want to say, kind of a big brother type review. So I'm a bookkeeper. Why am I constantly checking loan balances? Why do I need to have access to certain systems? And why am I frequently visiting things? So again, setting what a normal parameter would look like, and then just monitoring for things that go outside of the normal. That's really the more effective way. If you think about just the number of checks that clear a bank, everybody says, well, they're checking the signature. Really, they're not. And even when banks try to, your eyes can't focus quick enough. So you have to come up with smart systems to be able to review the fraud. I was in a board meeting several years ago, really right after 9/11, and I heard a board member, and he was a good businessman, and he was commenting on how hard our bank made it to open up an account. And he says, we're losing business to the bank across the street because they don't require them to show IDs. They don't require to tell them where the funds are coming from. And I'm thinking to myself, I said, let's lose all that business. But let's lose every bit of it. Because in today's society, in today's world, the banks that are doing that, they won't be around here very long, and the customer will have to come back to us eventually. So again, it's getting the mindset from the boardroom on down. One is having smart checks. So having checks that have identifiable marks and the holograms and all the different kind of the special ink that you can't copy it without the word void coming out of the mirror image, so that people can't use technology to counterfeit. Those are all very positive. But your tellers, your frontline folks have to know to look for those to use that as a true preventative measure. The other thing I suggest, and again, I get a lot of pushback, unless the bank's had a lot of fraud, then I don't get any pushback at all, is fingerprinting. It used to be a very common thing to put a little sticker and ask people to do a thumbprint. Do I really believe that the thumbprint will catch the con man? I believe it'll just send the con man to the next bank down the street that doesn't thumbprint. So, I tell the story that a lot of fraud prevention is like the two hikers who see a bear on the road. And they stop, and one hiker takes off his boots and starts putting on his tennis shoes. And the other hiker says, there's no way you're going to outrun that bear. He goes, I don't have to outrun the bear. I just got to outrun you. And so when you think about fraud prevention, the more procedures you put in place that make it harder for the con man is going to get his money. It's just where he's going to go next to do that. Yeah, and so you have the basic, like I said, the basic internal controls, the basic blocking, tackling. You prepare the entry, I review the entry. You prepare the reconcilement, but you don't make entries to the account. I review the reconcilement. I'm independent of the account. The more of those kind of things you put in place are critical. On top of that is good supervision. I have seen over the years individuals coming into management positions because they're very good salespeople, which is wonderful. The problem is when they become in charge of an operation, a loan operations or deposit operations area, they don't have the same appreciation for review and I go back to my 30-year experienced head teller. You never knew when she was going to take your work and take her pencil and go through it to see that you circled the cash or did your math like you were supposed to and all the rules. And just knowing that she was going to take my work and review it made us follow all the rules. So I don't see that level of dedication that I'd like to see from the operations management.